Okay, welcome back to another episode. Welcome back to episode 29 of Nick Lenz's Comic Corner. Classics, non-classics. Where in this, I review Marvel and DC. Okay, in this episode I'm reviewing Spider-Man Matters of Life and Death. This is a really thick book. Look at this book, it's really thick. This book has issues 652, the 657, and the 654.1. And it's written by Dan Slott and Fred Van Lente, who was one of the previous writers. I think he just lied because, well, Dan Slott simply just wrote the first story. He just co-wrote it. This guy co-wrote the book. Dan Slott's the one writing the whole thing. Alberto Ramos, Dan Slott does all the writing. Well, it looks like Dan Slott does pretty much most of the writing on this. Yes, he does. But the script for 652, 654 is by my friend Vanelli. Now, pretty much this is a very good story. Now, the first thing here deals with the return of the Spider Slayers. Of course, they're at their collar rink. Of course, Carly jokingly ends up in the lap of Mary Jane Watson. Yeah, this is just a joke. And besides, they're just friends. And of course, the Spider Slayers are stalking the, no, not that one. This one. They're stalking the, thing. I think this is supposed to be a Scorpion, yeah. This is just a 3-parter. And, the thing about Jonah is that he loves his son. But father wouldn't. But he just does. If he thinks of a hero, the only hero he thinks of is his son because his son serves in the military. I mean, Spider-Man is a hero. He does like Captain America. I'll give him that much. The only reason why he's Captain America because he's a patriot. The other ones he doesn't like very much. Alright? His view of heroes are people who serve the country. Which is kind of true. I give it that much. But they're heroes in the Marvel universe besides soldiers. Like Spider-Man and the others. The rest of them. And Carly and PB are having a date at the roller rink. Well, a small date. And they're talking. Yeah, this particular first part of the story, of course, it's hinted. And of course, to make a reference to the very first issue. Look at this flashback, little brief thing here. That's a flashback from way back in Amazing Spider-Man #1, where it was written by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, when Steve Ditko did the artwork at the time, and Stan Lee wrote the issue. I gotta get credit for Dan Slott doing that. Good idea of referencing the very first issue of the series. And you have John Jameson doing it. Yeah, Max Modell is a regular character at this point, so he just shows up everywhere, so it's nothing unusual. Yeah. Nothing unusual. Of course, these people who... Get this, all these Spider Slayer people all have a history with Jameson or Randy. Pretty much everyone who has history, basically everyone who's affiliated with either Jameson himself or affiliated with Jameson. Of course, they kind of do explain who these people are. Only a few of them, not very much of them. Of course, Spidey goes after the Rocket, try to save them. He says, and he's trying to fight the Spider Slayers. He said, and Jameson's like, stop that for this instant. The Air Force and my men got this. And he orders him to save his son. Which is kind of a smart move. Yes, I do give him credit for that. Jameson is not read basically in here as basically hating Spider-Man all much. Basically, since he feels that his men and the Air Force can take care of the bugs while he takes care of his son. He's a hero, so, okay, fine. And the first story ends basically with Spider-Man versus Scorpion for the first time in probably 6 years. Actually, first time in 5 years, these two have faced off against each other. Well, when Matt Gorgon was a Scorpion. This is first Scorpion versus Spider-Man match, where it's the original. No, not that one. First Scorpion versus Spider-Man match. That's how the first story ends. Excuse me. Love that cover. Pretty much all the Avengers, all people who remember the New Avengers at that point. The only people who remember New Avengers at this point who are not on this cover is the Thing. Yeah, I think this Thing and Doctor Strange. Of course, Alistair is hanging out in this little HQ. Yeah, he's worried about his son, basically wanting to kill everybody because he ruined his life. Okay, makes sense. And it also makes sense he's with the Scorpion because the Scorpion has got history with him. Yes. And Squirrel Girl shows up in here. Yes. Yeah. Yeah, he's trying to contact the Avengers, and he contacts them. And Jameson calls him this later. He calls the Avengers Mansion instead of calling the tower. Yeah. Yeah, and of course, she contacts the New Avengers right away. She refers to herself simply as the Earth's mightiest nanny. I thought that was cute. And of course, Max Mandel, they show Max Mandel, he makes a reference to 640 and 650. I love when he does that. Doc Ock shows up in here, but he doesn't play a role in this book, like the last one. Like during Grim Hunt, he's in the background. He does not interfere. He just watches, observes. I think the reason why that he's there is simply just to get people to know that he's still there, despite the fact he's not part of the story. Yeah. And of course, they try to go after Robbie. Yeah. Of course, Spider-Man can say after battling the Scorpion, and yes, Miss Marvel has battled the Scorpion a few times over the years. Yes, she saves him. They did have a brief relationship. It never went to. It went nowhere. But she did admit during the siege that she did have feelings for him. Yeah, but it went nowhere. Yeah. Yeah, and Spider-Man basically in the way contacted the Avengers. Luke Cage, Iron Fist, Power Woman. Yeah, Jessica Jones. Yeah. And Jameson is not too happy about this particular group of Avengers. He says, I want real Avengers. Gods, guys in metal suit, guys wearing flags, and say maybe a pair of mercenaries and a former reporter. And it's why he's like, what's about reporters? You used to read a newspaper. You ever eaten with one? Jameson, you ever eat one? That's actually quite funny. He says, you need to call your mightier friends and tell them to protect the Daily Eagle. And my God, my wife's Marla, my strength is for everyone I care about. He says, don't wear flat top. It's one of his many nicknames for him. It's funny. Yeah, and then Spidey basically comes with a plan. Says, you're a born leader. He says, divide and conquer, Mockingbird. Flyers, Miss Marvel and Jewel go to the illegal. And he says, hey, did you tell your flight? Yeah, of course they went after Marla and May. Yeah, this is a very interesting 3-part story. Yeah, and if you wonder who you are, it says her name is Sharon Trennan, and it turns out basically that turns out this woman actually did work for the Bugle. For some reason, Jameson fired her and took away her Pulitzer Prize. Yeah. Of course, Phil Urch says, Hobgoblin won't do anything. Don't know why. He could do something, but he doesn't. And of course, Miss Marvel and Jessica Drew show up, and Jessica Jones shows up with the Bugle. Yeah, there's like... yeah, like, this attention freaks. This building is under protection of the Avengers. Oh, it's funny. Yeah, this is a really funny 3-parter. Of course, Max finds out that he makes up the tech. Yeah, as he finds out next issue. Which he doesn't have much of a problem with that. Because as long as he tests it, it works out fine. Daredevil at this point is not a member of the New Avengers at this point. And of course he tries to take out Randy.
Yes.
He tries many times to try to split up Randy and Nora. He does succeed later on.
Oh,
And
no, okay.
Thing is still wearing his blue shorts. This is before the Future Foundation thing. And he tells Power Woman and Miss Marvel to take him out of the building because they're after him, not the Daily Bugle. Smart move.
Yes, I can.
Yeah. Of course, Scorpion and Spider-Man still fighting, and of course, in this story, Spider-Man loses his spider sense. That's the only negative effect I don't like with the thing. Spider-Man loses his spider sense. This last episode of Spider Island. Yeah.
Could you send me an email?
Something also bad happens.
Second, I can see if I got my email. Okay.
Marla gets killed by Alistair Smythe. And because of that, Spider-Man gets so angry, he beats the living crap out of Alistair Smythe.
Sorry, Carol. Bye-bye.
And she told him before Jameson died that don't blame anybody but himself for this. And he did. He only blamed himself for this because it was all his fault, which is true because he actually inadvertently started off this by people hating him so much. And then he started with a backup story, which sort of sets up in a way basically the Venom series. This is basically the first. This is part 1 of 2 of setting up in the way of the Venom series. Yeah, and of course this lovely lady here, the one who's walking down the hallway. Yeah, she plays a brief part in the Venom series before she gets taken out of the equation. And despite the fact Flash is kind of interested in her, she does remind that he's dating Betty Brant. Yeah. Excuse me. And this point 1 issue is just a continuation of the last backup story. And it's just simply Flash Thompson being the star, and it's all him. There's no Spider-Man in this story at all, but this point 1 does set up the Flash series, not the Flash, the Venom series, which lasts 42 issues. Yeah. Now, 655 is gotta be one of the best put together stories to date, and in this story, there's no words at all. They just go into a funeral every morning for Marla. Of course, the only words that are spoken, like a couple of different pages, they're only spoken in flashback. Only in flashback and some dreams here and there. That's the only reason. That's the only thing that people speak. But in present day, nobody speaks. Nope, nobody speaks. Yep. And he, of course, makes the vow that nobody. He speaks for the first time ever. He says nobody died because what happened to Marla. And then, of course, so kind of the ending kind of does set up the next part. Well, it introduces the villain known as Massacre, who does make a return as Superior Spider-Man after the story. Yeah. Pretty much this next part of the story is simply Spider-Man versus the versus Massacre. Yeah. And of course Jameson cracked it down. Basically trying to get death penalty initiated for Alice Smith because of what happened, because of what he did to him. Yeah. And of course Spider-Man introduces a new Spidey suit. This is the second one of these introduced since his work for Horizon Labs. And this story is simply just straightforward. Spider-Man fights him, defeats him, and then he promises like no one dies and takes him to jail. The last story, which is another homage to Amazing Spider-Man #1, where, and this is one of the backspelling, he gets trapped in the old security system for the Fantastic Four building. Yeah, he gets trapped in there. I thought that was interesting, the fact that they actually referenced both stories from Amazing Spider-Man #1. Yeah, there were 2 stories in that issue, in case anybody did not know. First story dealt with the debut of Jameson, and of course Daily Dew, of course, already made his debut in Fantastic Four. But that's how basically Spider-Man became sort of a menace as he is. Basically, is called by Jameson. The second story was the debut of the Chameleon, which was also the same issue of the Fantastic Four guest starred. Pretty much this is just a homage to that. Which, like, it just basically, this last story is simply just reminiscing about Johnny Storm. All the pranks that he pulled. Then as you tell about the Spider brought a story that Sue did not want brought up, was the story where when Johnny was alive and Spider pulled down his pants. Yeah. And there are apparently the Beetle, it was established in this very flashback that the Beetle, Albert Jenkins, was in fact a member of the Frightful Four. Trapster was obviously. And of course she pulls down her pants. First the Trapster, then the Beetle, and then finally the Wizard. Beats it very easily. Of course she gets arrested for instant exposure. Yeah, all because she pants 3 men in public. Yeah. It's just a little fun issue. I don't like the artwork's a bit strange, but it's okay. One Outer Space. And of course the reading of Johnny's will, basically giving him a spot in Fantastic Four, which is basically the Future Foundation. Yeah, this is and that's the end of that particular story. That's the Future Foundation right there with Spider-Man. This particular part of the story continues in FF number 1. Yeah, of course Jameson and Spidey getting the key to the city. Power Man showing up. Lock or key. Yeah, this is the new Power Man, not Luke Cage. This is the new one. And the Loader. Good God, can't this guy go away? Yeah, I'm getting really tired of this guy showing up. Yeah, this guy has got to be the worst villain that Stan Lee's ever created. Yeah. This guy has obsessions in meteorites. Yeah, that's how the story ends. And this final story is, well, it just basically coming up the line. Yeah, and the thing does end basically sort of a promo for the Power Man Iron Fist miniseries, and no, I've not read it yet. I think I actually read 1 issue for it, but that's pretty much it. So all in all, another 5 out of 5 story. Really good story. Really good set of stories in here. Though I think the stupidest one has got to be the one where they have Power Man show up and sort of promote the Power Man Iron Fist series and have to take on a freaking looter. That's the only thing I don't like about it. The looter. And that's it. So, that's it. Until the next video. Bye.